him across the line.
He's going to get down here first.
Look at Andrew Tate playing. Protect the deck.
Good morning, race fans, as H1 Unlimited welcomes you to the 69th Madison Regatta as the Unlimited Hydroplanes this weekend run for the oldest active motorsports trophy in the world, the APBA Gold Cup here on the Ohio River. Unlimited testing is scheduled to begin this morning at 11:30. We're going to have a slight delay in action. We're still getting some course markers set in spot. I just left the drivers' meeting conducted by H1 Unlimited Chief Referee Doug Shelton. The Unlimiteds will be allowed their 1-hour testing session once the course opens, and then we'll have Unlimited qualifying scheduled this afternoon from 2 until 4 o'clock. That's Eastern Daylight Time here in Madison, Indiana. The water conditions right now as we look out onto the Wild Bill Cantrell Memorial Racecourse, it will be the 2-mile track here this year in Madison for the APBA Gold Cup. Glass smooth water right now. 2 weekends ago, the Ohio River was at level stages of up to 40 feet. We're back down where we need to be at around the 20 feet to 19-foot mark here in Madison. Once again, Unlimited testing delayed. We were set to go at 11:30. You hear a trailer fire in the background right below us is the U-98 Graham Trucking American Dream. Corey Peabody will be in the cockpit this weekend for Rob Graham's second entry out of the Pacific Northwest. Looking back at last weekend, the H1 Unlimited Series began at Lake Guntersville in Guntersville, Alabama for the Southern Cup. And the winner was Jimmy Shane and the local hometown favorite this weekend, the Madison, Indiana-based Miss Homestreet Bank. Second position went to J. Michael Kelly in the Graham Trucking, the U12. And hitting the podium in third was the Canadian Bert Henderson out of Brockville, Ontario, Canada, in the U7 Spirit of Detroit. 6 boats were in Guntersville for the season opener last weekend. We've bumped that field up to 7 with the addition of last year's APBA Gold Cup champion and National High Point champion, the U1. Auction Marketing presents Delta Real Track. Andrew Tate is in Madison. The boat is in the pits, and they're set to defend their APBA Gold Cup here on the Ohio River after missing the season opener last week in Guntersville, Alabama. Once again, in a slight delay with our crew here with H1 Unlimited, our live stream this weekend. Water conditions are ideal. We're getting some course markers set in place. And Tate, I'll go silent for just a moment here as we'll keep an eye out on the race course and hopefully here have some action soon here on the Ohio River in Madison, Indiana. back live here at the 69th Madison Regatta APBA Gold Cup. Still waiting for our course to be set in place, but we welcome a newcomer to Madison, Indiana. Not a newcomer when it comes to hydroplane racing. Patrick Haworth, welcome to Madison. And I know you're anxious to get your laps completed in the U7 Spirit of Detroit.
Yes, I am. This is the first time I come here, and wow, what an amazing place! You walk around and you can feel the history of Madison.
Well, I'm born and raised in Madison, and by coincidence, 1971 was the year I got hooked on this stuff when Jim McCormick drove the hometown boat to victory. You're no stranger to hydroplane racing, multiple champion in numerous inboard hydroplane classes. The Unlimited ride you took last week for the first time at Guntersville, no problem for you.
Well, I mean, I was amazed at the speed that the boats attain, but no, it wasn't too bad actually. Fortunately for me, I got into a beautiful course, no wind, no waves, so I had time to analyze what the boat did. So it was pretty cool. Noticed it was big, noticed it was really heavy, and noticed it was really fast.
I noticed that with your reading your actualities on print and, of course, on video, the size of these boats is what gets the inboard pilot at first when they go out into the big craft.
Yes, I mean, what I noticed was the size was amazing, and you know, everybody's telling me, Jimmy Shane, let it be Bert or anybody else out there, you know, they gave me good pointers, and they all told me it's bigger than what you feel, so make sure you leave enough room. So no, serious, it's fast and it's big and it's exciting.
Well, as a fan of this sport, I wasn't surprised, but you had a couple of laps at over 150. Were you surprised at that?
I was actually very surprised. You know, maybe we call it beginner's luck. I mean, everybody came to see me and they were like, wow, you did over 150. And but no, I mean, I got some good pointers. I studied all weekend what everybody did, and my objective was to analyze the boat as the laps went around, and I was successful, I guess.
So to qualify as an unlimited hydroplane pilot, you have 5 laps recorded at 130 plus miles per hour under the watchful eyes of the H1 officials. How many more do you have to complete to be certified as an H1 pilot?
I actually met Doug a few minutes ago on that, and he told me I had 5 more laps at 130 plus to do, and another 5 laps that you know, at any speed I wanted. So, but the main thing was I got to do 15 laps. 10 of those have to be over 130, and the other 5, you know, he doesn't mind. But like he said, if you can do them all over 130, that's fine with me. I'll be more than happy.
It's that time of the year. The rumors and fans across the country and around the world want to know you're scheduled to be in Dave Bardis's second boat at the Hapo Columbia Cup, the U10. The veteran Jim Harvey currently working on that boat, the Homestreet shop out in Tukwila, Washington. Where are we at with this one? Will we see you in it in the Pacific Northwest?
Well, I'm crossing my fingers. I'm hoping so. I mean, Jim Harvey's working real hard on it, and I know we have a few crew members that after Madison are going to go down directly there and continue working on the boat, helping Jim to finalize everything. If the guys go down, I was told if all the guys go down, Bert Henderson and I might go down a week earlier, you know, to work on the boat and thrash on it. And supposedly if we all go down and we all push in, we'll be there for sure.
And this weekend, of course, you're trying to complete your laps in the U7 Spirit of Detroit, but this being the APBA Gold Cup, you want to have Bert Henderson, the primary driver, as comfortable as possible, so you'll try to work in where that will manage.
Exactly. Number one priority, Bert's the number one driver for the U7. I'm his spotter, and we're just going to study the course, and make sure that everything is done perfectly for him. And you know, if we have time, yes, I'll go out. But for me, my number one priority is that the U7 Spirit of Detroit wins the Gold Cup.
Couple of more questions for you, and I'll let you get back down to the 7 camp. Next weekend, it's the big one up at Valleyfield, Quebec. How many are you driving?
I'm actually not driving in Valleyfield, unfortunately, because this year I was promoted to race director for the Valleyfield Regattas as well as HRL last year. So, I mean, we're just getting ready for that race. Unfortunately, we had a sad event last weekend. We have to cope with that until the Valleyfield Regatta. So it's not an easy thing for the racers, but also for the organizers.
And I wanted to send my condolences out to all the HRL family, all boat racing. Mathieu Dayu, fine young man, a wonderful young pilot, gone too soon, and it's affected all of us in boat racing. And the dog, as his nickname was, he'd want us to go on.
Oh, for sure, he'd want us to go on, and ironically, I spoke to him last Wednesday, and he wished me good luck going to Guntersville, and he says, "Hey, Pat, by the way, try and find me a ride in the Unlimited for next year with a couple of winks there." So, anyways, it's a very sad moment for HRL, and and they're such a great family, so it was a sad day.
Patrick, thank you for stopping by and visiting with us. Good luck this weekend at the APBA Gold Cup with the Spirit of Detroit, and we hope to see you out there to get some more laps in the book so we can get you qualified and get you out here in the wars of H1 Unlimited.
I'm crossing my fingers.
Patrick Hayworth, boats are going into the water. The U6 Miss Homestreet is hanging over the water on the crane, and we'll take a slight break, and we'll be back with you momentarily. Expect testing action to begin shortly here in Madison. Jimmy Shane being strapped into the U6 Miss Homestreet, the local favorite this weekend. Of course, the boat campaigned by Miss Madison Incorporated. Owner's rep is Charlie Grooms. Of course, Bob Hughes still an integral part of Miss Madison Incorporated out of Clifty Engineering. Jimmy Shane, the pilot, a native of Havre de Grace, Maryland, now resides in Maple Valley, Washington. Hard to believe, already 18 career wins in the sport for Jimmy Shane. Shane, a three-time Gold Cup champion, 2014 and 15, driving for the Citizens of Madison with the boat sponsor Oberto, and in 2017 in Miss Homestreet. Shane, a five-time national champion Unlimited Hydroplane pilot. Mike Hansen has returned to the sixth camp. Mike has put his magical touches on the boat. As you see him right there, he'll be spotting for Jimmy when he takes to the water here momentarily in testing activity. So things are about to pick up here in Madison, making final adjustments here on the race course for the 69th Madison Regatta as the Unlimiteds run for the APBA Gold Cup. A good sign as you see the H-1 safety and rescue vessel making one more sweep of the Ohio River race course, making final preparations, checking to see if the buoys are in proper position. Also, too, one final sweep of the track, making certain that the debris is out of the water. And the testing session, as we mentioned earlier, we are behind. It was scheduled to start at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time here in Madison. But Chief Referee Doug Shelton at the drivers' meeting this morning indicated at all camps that once we start, there will be that 1 hour window of unlimited testing. Qualifying will be this afternoon here in Madison starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It's a 2 hour window up until 4 p.m. EDT here in Madison. The Big Orange, Bucket List Racing, Dustin Eccles' craft going into the Ohio River. They had a phenomenal run last weekend at the Southern Cup at Guntersville, Alabama. On Saturday in testing, they cracked their first ever 150-mile-per-hour lap in the Bucket List Racing. This is a smaller craft using the smaller turbine engine, the T53. This one cranks out about 1,400 horsepower compared to the other six participants this weekend in the pit area with the T55. It generates around 2,600 horsepower. But boat owners Sharon and Kelly Stockland, crew chief Taylor Evans, and Dustin Eccles, they keep going on up the ladder with this Bucket List Racing as they'll be in the testing activity here momentarily. Just heard over the official radios, the course is open. The course is open for unlimited testing here at the 69th Madison Regatta APBA Gold Cup. The local hometown favorite already in the water, the Homestreet blue and white Miss Homestreet. Jimmy Shane in the cockpit getting final instructions before this testing session, before they close the lid on the capsule. Dustin Eccles making his way into the cockpit of the 440 Bucket List Racing. Craft is in the water, nestled next to the pit dock. Also, the slings have been applied to the U7 Spirit of Detroit. Brockville, Ontario, Canada's Bert Henderson will make his way out on the Ohio River for the first time in a unlimited hydroplane. Other boats activity around the U98. Graham Trucking American Dream, Corey Peabody. Pitted next to the U98 is the teammate boat, the U12 Graham Trucking with J. Michael Kelly. Next to them is the U11 J&Ds, presented by Reliable Diamond Tool, Tom Thompson. And next to the U6 on the far end of the pit area is your defending APBA Gold Cup champion, Andrew Tate. In the U1, Oxshire Marketing presents Delta Real Track. First boat out on the water, the Homestreet blue and white. Jimmy Shane leaving the pit dock. This is a brand new craft for Miss Madison Incorporated. Made its way to Tri-Cities, Washington last year for the HAPO Columbia Cup. Tested only on the Columbia River, and boy, the boat right out of the box last year down the chutes appeared to be a sweetheart. And the way it looked last weekend in Guntersville, Alabama for the Southern Cup, the off-season work done to this boat, it is one of the favorites here this weekend at the APBA Gold Cup 69th Madison Regatta. Once again, for our viewers just joining us on the H1 Unlimited live stream, we will run the 2-mile track here in Madison for the APBA Gold Cup as Shane works up the back straightaway here on this warm-up lap in U6 Miss Homestreet. 2-mile track. Turn number 2, or the bridge turn, we'll refer to throughout the weekend. Shane makes his way to the entrance pin right now. Boat's not going underneath the Milton Madison Bridge this year, as is in the past 2 years. And Shane comes down the front straightaway, and we'll try and get some testing speeds here for you here in the testing session that will last for 1 hour. Nice smooth boat ride across the start-finish line buoy as he works into the west turn, turn number 1, puts it on the hook, settles it down there at the apex of turn number 1 now, shakes loose off the exit pin of turn number 1. And the key to this boat last weekend at the Southern Cup in Guntersville, Alabama, is that acceleration off the turn. And Shane looking sharp here to begin testing here on the Ohio River in Madison for the APBA Gold Cup. Through turn number 2, comes out in about a lane 2 sequence, and we'll try and get a time here for you in testing for U6 Miss Homestreet. No speed given over the radio as Shane works off turn number 1 down the back straightaway. U6 Miss Homestreet. Working up into turn number 2. Shane's 18 career wins in the sport. Now he kept it a little tighter off turn number 2. Walks it a little bit past the start-finish line buoy. you can tell by the noise in the background from our position here atop the pit tower, is slowed momentarily as he works into turn number 1. I want to get my secondary watch to see if he makes any timing runs here on the Ohio River to get an idea in seconds how long it takes to get from point A to point B. Point B, of course, being the start-finish line buoy, as we'll use the clock start format here this weekend at the APBA Gold Cup. So slows up the back chute right across from us here at the judges stand here in Madison. Keep our eye on him. See when he hits that accelerator to possibly make a timing run here in testing. I'll go ahead and, yep, he hit the accelerator right there. We got the clock on him in a lane 1 sequence. This gives Shane an idea how long it takes in seconds when he hits that throttle at the entrance pin at turn number 2 to the start-finish line. We stop our watch and he gets there in 16 seconds. 16 seconds. So when you're watching tomorrow and on Sunday with our racing, when we have the clock up in the top right-hand corner, when the boats get to that 16-second mark right there at the entrance pin of turn number 2, mash the gas. You should be ideal to come down for a clean start in the racing activity. If you jump the gun in H1 Unlimited Hydroplane Racing, you're issued a 1-minute penalty on your lapse time, and of course a penalty takes you away from the checkered flag and those precious points in the preliminary heats to get you to the 4-boat final heat on the front row here in Madison for Sunday's winner-take-all APBA Gold Cup final heat. We'll keep our eye on Shane once again entering turn number 2. See if he elects to make another timing run. Now appears to be working out in about a lane 2 or 3 sequence. Gingerly working around turn number 2. He is out wider this time, but now it appears he might be electing to come on back into the pit dock, but we'll watch here just to make certain. Straightens it up, and I believe, yes, the boat is going down, and he appears to be coming back to the pit dock, and the PR man, Jimmy Shane, already with the lid up, waving to the hometown crowd as he returns to the pit area in U6, Miss Homestreet. On the track right now, exiting turn number 2, is the bright orange 440 Bucket List Racing. Dustin Eccles, a 4th place finish at last weekend's Southern Cup in Guntersville, Alabama. And this is not the site that boat owners Sharon and Kelly Stockton out of Snohomish, Washington, and crew chief Taylor Evans wanted to see right out of the box. The bucket list not getting up to speed, and Dustin Eccles pointing the nose of the boat back into the pit dock. So unfortunately, let's hope it's not a major malfunction underneath the cowling of the Bucket List Racing 440. Dustin Eccles out of Monroe, Washington. Boat keeps getting better and better as the lid comes up. The U7 Spirit of Detroit is in the water. Bert Henderson will take to the course in testing only. The slings have been applied to the U12 Graham Trucking. J. Michael Kelly will enter the water here momentarily. So activity picking up as we began testing here about 10 minutes ago at the 69th Madison Regatta APBA Gold Cup, and you see the slings being applied to the defending APBA Gold Cup champion, national champion, the U1 Oxshire Marketing presents Delta Reel Track, and you see that man to the left right there with the white hat and white t-shirt. Jeff Campbell is here this weekend with the one camp. Jeff elected to retire from the sport last year as a crew chief. Crew chief is Seth Partial this year, but Jeff Campbell is on hand for the biggest prize in hydroplane racing, the Gold Cup, offering his assistance this weekend to Lori and Mike Jones's boat, driven by Walled Lake, Michigan's Andrew Tate. The U12 Graham Trucking hovering over the water, trying to get some room in there. We'll get the bucket list racing downstream just a touch so we can get the U12 Graham Trucking in the water. And you can see to the right the dominant red with the blue and white stripe. U7 Spirit of Detroit is in the water. Bert Henderson will take his first laps ever in an unlimited hydroplane here on the Ohio River here momentarily. Thank you for watching the live stream here on this Friday, day number 1 of 3 of activity at the 69th Madison Regatta APBA Gold Cup. Slight delay in the action. We understand there is some debris on the back chute. You can see the safety and rescue personnel over on the back chute sweeping up that debris out of the Ohio River. So once we get that taken care of and put on that safety and rescue sled, we'll go back to testing activity. We did get 2 speeds for the U6 Miss Homestreet in testing. Lap speeds of a little over 141 miles per hour, and the second lap at a touch over 145 here on the 2-mile layout here on the Ohio River, the Wild Bill Cantrell Memorial Racecourse here in Madison. And it's typical Midwest weather here to greet us day number 1 of 3 on the Ohio River, as it's 12:15 Eastern Daylight Time. Muggy conditions, humidity high. It's going to be a hot one for this year's APBA Gold Cup. Graham Trucking hovering over the water. J. Michael Kelly. The 440 Bucket List Racing is still in the water, and the lid is shut, so I'm not certain if Dustin Eccles is back in the cockpit of the orange 440. They went out for a slow lap and came back in quickly. So let's hope Dustin is back in the enclosed capsule and they can make their way back out onto the racetrack. Final preparations being made to Bert Henderson in the cockpit of the U7 Spirit of Detroit. I expect Bert to be the next boat out on the racetrack. Bert Henderson out of Brockville, Ontario, Canada. The boat owner, Dave Bardish out of Detroit. Dave Bardish has his name etched on the APBA Gold Cup. Winner back in 2005 with the U13 Al DB Dodge with his pilot, Terry Troxell. Terry Troxell, the 2005 APBA Gold Cup champion, driving for Dave Bardish. And you see the defending champion just to the right, the dominant white with the orange and yellow striping. The U1 Auxure Marketing presents Delta Real Track. Andrew Tate won the 2017 exhibition here at Madison for the Indiana Governor's Cup. Finished second here last year in Madison to Jimmy Shane in Miss Homestreet, as final preparations being made to Andrew Tate, getting set to go out on the Ohio River to defend his APBA Gold Cup championship that he won last year at the Metro Detroit Chevy Dealers APBA Gold Cup. The hometown favorite heading back to the trailer, the Homestreet blue and white U6 Miss Homestreet. Lap speeds we mentioned earlier in testing at 141 and 145. We expect the 6 to be put on the trailer. Would not be surprised to see them back out on the water before this testing session ends, which was a 1-hour window for the H1 Unlimited Hydroplanes. Currently in a holding pattern here on the Ohio River for H1 Unlimited testing. You can see way in the background the safety and rescue vessel still sweeping the back straightaway for debris here on the Ohio River for H1 Unlimited testing. But once that is swept, we've got plenty of activity, as you can see at the dock. From left to right, the U12 Graham Trucking still on the sling. They'll put that boat in momentarily once we get the course reopened. Trying to get verification, and it does look like that Dustin Eccles is still nestled in the cockpit, I believe, of the 440 Bucket List Racing. They went out for one lap. If you just joined us earlier, did not get up to full speed, came back in quickly. So maybe it was a minor adjustment, and we'll see if the 440 makes their way back out or goes back on the trailer here in Madison. Of course, Bert Henderson waiting feverishly in the U7 Spirit of Detroit. Bert been in that cockpit quite a while, at least 10 minutes. And Andrew Tate waiting for his chance as well in the U1 Oxshire Marketing presents Delta Real Track. Cowling has been put back on the U98. Graham Trucking, American Dream. Corey Peabody hopes to get out here in testing in the U98. We also see the Chartreuse and Carnival Orange. That is some slings on top of the engine cowling of the U11. J&D's presented by Reliable Diamond Tool. So those will be the next two boats, hopefully, going to the Ohio River. We hope all 7 will get a chance here in testing here for the APBA Gold Cup. Currently in a holding pattern due to a debris sweep on the back straightaway. We'll come back here with you in just a moment. Welcome back to the Ohio River, Madison, Indiana. You're watching the live stream provided by H1 Unlimited. With us is the hometown favorite driver this weekend, driving for the citizens of Madison, Indiana. Jimmy Shane, you were out earlier. Tell us about the water. Tell us about the boat.
Oh, the water conditions are actually beautiful. I mean, the river is really calm right now. There's not much wakes, very little boat wakes out on the river, and as far as the actual water conditions, they're great. What's happening is there's a lot of debris from the torrential rain that they've had the past couple weeks. A lot of stuff on the back stretch, lanes 3, 4, and 5. So they're working on sweeping it right now. I was out there dodging what I could. Still wanted to get some good timing marks in and get some good data for our run. So at least we were able to do that. Front stretch is beautiful, no debris. They got to work on the first turn a little bit. Some of the buoys are out of place. River is really strong right now. The current's really strong, so it's challenging, but we'll get it. We'll get there, and we're ready to put on a great show here in Madison.
Before we continue on, for our fans watching online, the layout here in Madison, the Kentucky River is east of here about 11 to 12 miles, and no dam on that river, and unfortunately a lot of debris can come out of there, but the weather has been in our favor here the past couple of days, so hopefully we can get this swept, and maybe after that we won't have to worry about the rest of the weekend. So 141, 145, one timing mark I got you on. 16 seconds from the entrance pin to turn number 2, the start line. Now, that was by my watch.
Okay, good.
But just one timing run. I'm sure you'll make more.
Yeah, I think it's about 27 seconds from the entrance pin is what I got. Okay. That was my timing mark. No, I can't give away all of our secrets that we're trying to do, but no, I'm happy that we got out on the water, got some feel for the river. This is a challenging place to race, so anytime you can get out there and get a feel for the river and get a feel for the boat, it's beneficial as a driver and for the team as a whole. You can see one of the things that's very different this year. The river is higher than it was last year. You can see how close the trucks are to the fencing, so that tells you the river's, I'm guessing, probably around 21, 22 feet right now. It actually came up a little bit overnight, so that means that they probably kept some of not all the gates open and the dam down the river. So hopefully with some more weather gods on our side, we won't get any more rain up north. They can start opening up some of the gates down south, and the river will start clearing out.
And Markland Dam will do the best they can do, which is about 20 miles to the east of here upstream on the Ohio River, just east of Vevey, Indiana, and just west of Warsaw, Kentucky here in the Ohio River Valley. 2014, you began driving for the citizens of Madison for Miss Madison Incorporated. First with the Alberto sponsorship, now with the fine folks from Homestreet out in the Pacific Northwest. This race has extra added pressure for you this weekend. Do you feel it coming into the APBA Gold Cup here this weekend?
Yes. Yeah, there is a lot of pressure. I mean, I've been hearing it leading up all week long. Last time the Gold Cup was in Madison, Indiana, running for the Gold Cup was 1971. That was obviously a historic year for this city, this town. Jim McCormick, the driver at the time, and it turned into being such a historic moment. They made a movie out of it. I mean, that's really what this is all about. There is going to be a lot of pressure, but you know what? I'm up for it. I'm ready to do the job that I'm here to do, and our team is ready to and geared up and ready to go.
A great run, and congratulations on your Southern Cup victory last week down at Guntersville, Alabama. Great run. On paper, you were the favorite, but what I labeled as the 250-piece puzzle at Guntersville last week has went to 1,000 pieces here just because of the addition of that big white boat down there, the defending APBA Gold Cup champion Andrew Tate. I'm sure this changes your strategy a lot.
It does. I mean, we have some very, very strong equipment. Our team is very strong and experienced. But that white boat is here this weekend. J. Michael was running fantastic last week, and Bert was running really good last weekend. And how about those 440 guys? They are just they're inspiring, and those guys are here to not only have fun, they're here to run their boat, and that is an amazing thing to watch and see their team progress to where it's gotten today. But that one boat, we know that's probably going to be our biggest challenge this weekend. They're very strong. They had a wonderful season last year. They were national champions. They won almost every single race. And we're looking to make sure that people know that we're still here. Miss Madison is still here. Miss Homestreet is out here to win races.
7-boat field here for the APBA Gold Cup. We'll find out tomorrow from H1 Chief Referee Doug Shelton. I do expect the traditional APBA Gold Cup format, the 4 preliminary heats, 4 laps apiece, and then the 5-lap winner-take-all final. Brad Luce, my friend, and I have worked several Gold Cups up at Detroit, and he got this from Debbie Gregory. It's points, points, points. You need to score in those preliminaries to make this 4-boat front row of the final.
It is. It really is all about points, and our team is really geared up to be a points racing team. We go race by race, and you absolutely cannot win the Gold Cup if you're not in that final heat. So you can't have the boat all wadded up on the trailer from an accident. You have to be smart all weekend long, and that's the main goal. Be smart, be there for the final, give yourself a chance to win that Gold Cup.
This is a brand new boat. You tested it at the Hapo Columbia Cup last year in Tri-Cities, raced it for the first time at Lake Washington in Seattle, then Detroit, San Diego. But Mike Hansen, Larry Hansen, the whole crew out in Tukwila, they've made some changes for you, and this one is a sweetheart.
It is. We were very fortunate to be able to get the boat out last season and get some time on it. That gave us a direction of what we wanted to do over the winter to the boat, what changes we need to make. So although the end of the season didn't work out the way that we wanted to, it was really, really beneficial for us to get that new boat out on the water, get a feel for what changes needed to be made. And Mike and Larry and the entire team, they worked their butts off this winter, and it's a beautiful piece of equipment, and I'm just honored to be able to drive it.
Now, for our fans watching online here with H1 Unlimited, 2.5-mile course last weekend down at the Southern Cup at Lake Guntersville. 2-mile track here at Madison. What differences? Is there a lot of changes in the gearbox combination to get that propeller to sing for you properly?
Yeah, most of it is going to be gearbox and propeller changes. There is some significant boat changes that we do make between the two size courses. You want that boat to get up and start flying a lot quicker because there's smaller, tighter turns here. The boats don't go as fast. We still should be hitting around that 185 mark, maybe 190 at the end of the straightaways. But with as small as this course is, it's all about acceleration. It's about getting the boat up and flying. And whoever can get the boat up and flying is going to be putting themselves in a good place to have some good lap speeds.
And with the 7-boat field, especially in the warm-up period prior to the start, every driver, they do not want to beat themselves.
No, you cannot beat yourself. You can't let the river beat you. And at the end of the day, you got to be smart to make it.
Thank you so much for stopping by, and got to have a little fun here with you before you leave. When you come to Madison, Indiana, and you need a rental vehicle for the weekend, where do you go?
You go to one place, and that's Chandler Chevrolet on the top of the hill.
That's Chandler Chevrolet, 600 Clifty Drive on Madison's Hilltop. Sales, service, parts, body shop, detail, and I understand they have a friendly shuttle driver.
I've heard that he's very, very well known around this town, and that he has a lot of history, and will give you a nice private tour of everything you want to know around the town of Madison. No, Chandler Chevrolet is a wonderful place. I don't know if I'm going to be returning the wheels that they gave me for this weekend. I might just start driving home and take it on home right now. It's so nice. So big thank you to Chandler Chevrolet. They hooked me up for the weekend, and it's a good start to the weekend.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Jimmy Shane with us, driver, the local favorite this weekend, U6 Miss Homestreet. And we'll come back here and give you an update. Boats were taken out of the water. I noticed when we were talking to Jimmy, we'll come back and give you an update on that here in just a bit. Welcome back to Madison, Indiana, live streaming coverage from H1 Unlimited for the 2019 69th Madison Regatta APBA Gold Cup. We're currently in a holding pattern. When we were interviewing Jimmy Shane earlier, we noticed a lot of safety and rescue vessels making their way on the Ohio River. Early word is we're trying to get the back straightaway swept of debris, and understanding, too, there's some buoys that need to be repositioned down in turn number 1. This gentleman here next to me, J. Michael Kelly, driver of the U12 Graham Trucking. You want those buoys in the proper spot when you go testing because that's critical.
It makes a world of difference if they're not in place when it comes time for racing. If you've gone out there and got timing marks and, if they're different, it can definitely throw you off. But, biggest thing right now is we want to get out on the water and get some data and make sure we get our boats dialed in. But we'll get there. We got a great group of guys behind us, and, we definitely want to put a good show on for these amazing fans.
Boat looks great. You took it to Tri-Cities and tested, and when I saw the first photos of it coming out of Guntersville on the Facebook pages of H1 Unlimited, Hydro News, and Unlimited's on down, love the graphics on the cowling and the vertical. A lot of RC racers are going to make that Graham Trucking. It looks nice.
Yeah, no, thank you. We got it. We had to give it some character. It needed a little bit of change, and I wasn't too sure at the beginning, but looking at it now, it looks pretty good, and I think it looks pretty good on the water. Obviously I've only seen it from pictures and stuff. I haven't seen it while it's out there running, but I've been told it looks pretty good and looks mean, and so if the fans like it, then that's all that really matters.
Second place at the Southern Cup. Wasn't surprised watching the streaming. You're great at it. You're excellent at it. Lane 1's your spot. Didn't have enough speed, but I understand your gear combination here might work a little bit better on this track. Is that true?
I think with this 2-mile track and, obviously here in Madison, I think it'll hopefully it'll even us out. In Guntersville, we definitely tried our best to go out there and win a race, but we didn't have the legs that we needed. And, but also first race of the year. And, we ran 2 races last year, so we didn't run the full season. So we're a little bit behind the 8 ball, but we'll get there. Got Tom Anderson, my crew chief, who will, he's getting her dialed in for me, and amazing group of guys. And so I think here, we've had really good success on this race course, and hopefully we can continue that.
If your boat is a little slower and you do have that prime positioning on the inside, that can make the equation even out.
Oh, inside is fastest way around. Obviously, here a lot of guys don't like lane 1, but if you can get to that first turn before the other guys, then you can kind of dictate what's going on. If that guy on your outside beats you down there, then you better hold on and make sure you get through that turn because it can get pretty tight out there.
Okay, your elementary school classmate, Corey Peabody's with you this year, teammate on the U98 Graham Trucking American Dream. Jim Labrie done a great job with the wrap and the paint job and the whole team. Old Leland boat looks good.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool to have my best friend out there. Obviously went to elementary school together, junior high, high school, wrestled together, pretty much spent all our summers together. So I got him involved in boat racing, and it's pretty neat to see him come get this far. And it was pretty cool to give him some laps in my boat a few years ago. And here he is. He's driving the Leland boat that Rob acquired over the off season, and he worked his tail off. Out of all the drivers, he definitely deserves this opportunity. They did a ton of work to that hole, and now we just got to find a little bit more speed, and we'll get there. And he's got a positive attitude, and boat looks great, and we'll get there with it.
Well, we appreciate Rob Graham bringing both boats here to the East Coast to start the season. Understand he's back in the Pacific Northwest, but Rob, is a fan of the sport, thank you very much for being here this weekend at the APBA Gold Cup in Madison. All right, Jimmy Shane's taken to the track. Dustin Eccles made one short lap, not at speed. When you're not testing and the other drivers are on the water, are you watching them?
Oh, you're always watching. You have to. If not, you're not, going to better yourself out there. So, we'll be watching. Doesn't matter who it is. We'll be watching, seeing what they do, and, it'll be the same when we get out there.
Just the basics, watching for timing runs, just seeing how good the boat speed is down the chute, see how the boat turns, just the basic stuff, I'm sure.
Exactly. I mean, it's nice because, they are doing lap times up here, so you can kind of see how far off you are from the other guys and things like that. In Guntersville last week, and we were quite a bit ways off from what Jimmy was qualifying, but, when it came time for racing, we were right there, and, it'll be the same thing here, but it will be nice if we can go out there and put up just as good numbers. So that's our goal.
2016 APBA Gold Cup champion. You're so cool, calm, and collected. You as a driver and me as a fan, we're both emotional type people. And boy, right when you broke out in that cockpit after getting that checkered flag in 16 at Detroit, this trophy means a lot.
Well, it means the world to you. I mean, I've been doing this for 31 years and 16 years in the Unlimited, and to get one Gold Cup, is pretty amazing. And a lot of guys that haven't won it that deserved it, and just fell a little short. And I've had a lot of opportunities, and I fell short a lot. And to get that one out of the way, it's special. I mean, that's what we race for, and but now I want more, and so I'm not going to give it up easy. So I'll definitely go out there and battle for it, and just like the rest of the guys.
Yeah, mentioning the drivers just off the top of my head that never won it. Take a look at a Mickey Riemann. Take a look at Jim Cropfeld, Mark Webber. They would love to have had their name on that trophy, and you're one of very few men special enough to have your name etched on it. Good luck this weekend. We're glad you're here. You're defending Indiana Governor's Cup champion and Gold Cup champion. Go get them.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's good to be back. I've missed it the last couple of years, so I'm just glad I can watch it from this side and not the other side of the TV. So thank you for having us, and we're looking forward to getting out on the water.
J. Michael Kelly, driver of the U12 Graham Trucking. We'll get an update on what the schedule is as we still see safety and rescue personnel going out on the Ohio River for the debris sweep and the buoy situation down in turn number 1. We'll be back with you in just a bit. Welcome back atop the judges stand here at the 69th Madison Regatta APBA Gold Cup. We continue our live streaming coverage here on H1 Unlimited. Still in a holding pattern out on the water for a debris sweep on the back straightaway, the Kentucky side, and also, too, getting some buoys back into position. We want to thank our drivers coming up to speak to our fans watching online and with us. 40-year-old Corey Peabody out of Kent, Washington. Welcome to Madison, because I know you're anxious to get out there. This is your first crack on the Ohio River as a driver.
That's true, yeah. It's my first time here. I'm happy to be here at the U98 Graham Trucking team. You know, we brought 2 boats. We're here to have some fun and help support this community.
Nice run last week at Guntersville. Got out, made some laps, got used to the craft. Can you guys step it up here this weekend in Madison?
We're going to try. We've changed a few things, so we'll see what happens with that. I mean, every heat we're kind of getting a little bit faster, but, you know, this is our first time here. If we have the right setup, we're going to find out real soon. So we'll find out at testing what we got, and if we think we can do better, which I'm sure we will, we'll make a change.
And I just spoke to your elementary school classmate and lifelong friend, J. Michael Kelly, your teammate. Has to be so neat teaming up with Rob Graham this year, driving the 98, and especially with your friend in the 12.
Oh, yeah, what a treat. I mean, how many people can say they've done that? We're here. We've been friends, like I said, and everybody knows, since elementary school. You know, not a lot of people can say that now. You know, we're 40 years old, and we're racing boats together, and, I mean, it's a great opportunity.
Tell us about your racing background and inboard. I was blessed to go out to the Western Divisionals at Spanaway, Washington a few times to work with my friend Brad Luce. I know you're a dynamite 1-liter pilot in that Y5. What other classes of inboards have you driven?
I've been able to drive 5-liter, 2.5 stock, 1-liter. Those are the classes that I've concentrated on in the inboard. The 1-liter was the boat that we owned, and that was kind of our main focus. And that little 1-liter is a rocket, you know, so it was a good time. Now we're up here running these ones, and, you know, that's where we're going to put our concentration now.
Had Patrick Haworth up earlier. He debuted last week in Guntersville in the Spirit of Detroit, trying to qualify as a driver. Your first appearance in an Unlimited was 2016 in Detroit in the U57, and everyone has the same thing. The size of the boat when you get in it is a real challenge, and you have to get used to it.
Yeah, absolutely. The first time I went into a turn with one, you actually realize how massive the boat is and how wide it is. When that fin hooks up and your face feels like it's 14 feet long, you understand how big of a machine you're in.
28 feet, 14 foot wide, and you got that 2,600 horse turbine underneath the bonnet. It can get your attention.
Oh, yeah. It gets your attention real fast. You know, those buoys go by really quick when you're rolling down those straightaways.
Anxious to get out here, I'm certain. 69th Madison Regatta. Not only you're a driver, but I'm certain you're a fan of the sport. What does it mean for Corey Peabody to race here in Madison, Indiana?
It's great. I mean, look what we get to do. We get to come here, have fun, support this community, and just be a part of something that's been around 69 times. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, it doesn't get any better for me.
Well, me personally as a fan, it's amazing just growing up about 4 or 5 miles from the riverfront out in the country, and just blessed to go to many races and meet people. And when you get right down to the nuts and bolts of it, everything that you're involved in, it's the people you meet that means the most to you.
Oh, absolutely. The kids, the fans, everything, especially the kids, you know, they get excited, and, you know, everybody does, but just to see how excited the kids are. I mean, I got 3 kids myself, so I enjoy watching the kids get excited to see us come into their towns.
Now, you and Kelly as kids didn't race those bike hydros, did you, out there in the Pacific Northwest?
No, they didn't, but, you know, Mike's kids are a little bit older than mine, but I'm sure they're going to find them one of these races when our families hook up and playing around with something, you know.
Corey, thank you for joining us. Anxious to see you out on the water. Good luck this weekend in the red, white, and blue U98 Graham Trucking American Dream.
Thank you.
Corey Peabody with us, and we'll get an update on the debris and the race course. Stay with us. You're watching live coverage online of the Madison Regatta APBA Gold Cup here at H1 Unlimited. Welcome back to Madison, H1 Unlimited streaming. We're here at the 69th Madison Regatta APBA Gold Cup. We're currently in a holding pattern as we have debris on the back straightaway. We're trying to sweep along with some resetting of buoys. Turn number 1, I understand, was an issue, and we have our team working on the debris sweep and course setup as well. With us is the young man from Canada, Brockville, Ontario, Canada, Bert Henderson. Welcome to Madison. Not only your first time here, first time in an Unlimited here, glad you're here.
Hey, I couldn't be happier to be here. I mean, I've heard so many good things in the history of Madison. I mean, what a beautiful town. You know, I'm honored to be here, and I can't wait to get out on that water and rip it up.
Boy, time flies by. I was talking to my friend Brad Luce on the phone the other day, and this is right now your 5th Unlimited race. Your debut was at that 2017 President's Cup in Detroit on Saturday, then the Gold Cup on Sunday, and last week, podium finish in the U7 Spirit of Detroit. Boat looks like it's on the upswing for you.
We're definitely making some strides. The crew's worked really hard in the off season. We've done some changes. We've got some new things that we're brewing, and the boat is definitely improving. I got to thank that crew. I mean, they work tirelessly. I got to thank Dave Bardish for giving me the opportunity to drive the boat. I'm just super, super stoked to be running this full series this year.
And, of course, your background with driving inboards, a superior chauffeur in the Grand Prix series, and I've asked a couple of the other drivers, what was the big difference when you first got into that Unlimited? Was it just the size or just the awe of it?
I mean, it's awesome. I mean, you can't compare a Grand Prix boat to an Unlimited. I mean, they're so big and fast and stable. You know, a GP is a little bit more unpredictable, and they got a lot more acceleration. But, I mean, these things here, oh, my God, it's just unbelievable. Words can't explain the feeling of driving an Unlimited hydroplane. And the fact that, I get to drive a former Miss Budweiser is first time in the boat, I was pinching myself.
Well, you're in the T5, Miss Budweiser, and Dave Bardish acquired the craft from Ted Porter. Ted ran it for a number of seasons when he was in the sport, and has to be a comfortable feeling driving for Dave because he had some ownership experience back in the mid-2000s. And, of course, he has a Gold Cup as an owner in 2005 when Terry Troxell drove the Aldebe Dodge. And I know you're glad to be teamed up with Dave.
Absolutely. I mean, Dave – I'm honored, that he has the confidence in me as a driver to be able to, get that boat onto a podium finish. I know he's got some high expectations with the changes we've made, and, the history of the Spirit of Detroit, and, with the history of Detroit, Gold Cup races and being around since 1903, I really feel humbled, to be in an elite group of guys, and it's you got 7, 8, 9 guys that are the cream of the crop, and to be considered that, makes me feel really, really good, and to know that they've got the confidence in me to be able to do that, it certainly gives you a pick-me-up.
Of course, your background with Henderson Hydroplanes up in Brockville, Ontario, Canada, you're a dynamite boat builder. How much of a factor did that help you coming into the Unlimited, knowing how boats are built? Not knowing how an Unlimited was built, but to kind of get in the seat to get going?
I had a lot of help. I mean, Jamie Ald's been my mentor from the beginning, and he worked, directly with Ronnie Brown with Miss Bud, and, that's a huge advantage for me. And Jamie, he's been to a bunch of the races with me, and, has been a good coach. And Jeff Bernard certainly has helped me a lot, in driving styles, and, but just having a general feel for the boat and giving good feedback to the team, that we can make changes to get the boat better, is a big deal. And, if you can collaborate with some pretty smart minds to get you there, it's a pretty good advantage. And, just having that advantage, with being able to, learn how to set up a boat properly and having the guys that are behind you to offer some support, offer some, going back and forth with some different ideas, it's a big advantage. So.
You mentioned that your 3 races in Detroit with the Unlimited, that was about a 2.6-mile course. Guntersville, 2.5. This is 2 mile, so I know you're anxious to get out there to see what changes you do need to make to the boat, because this will be the shortest track you've been on in a big Unlimited.
I think it's a bit of an advantage for us, with it's similar to what the Grand Prix courses are like, where it's a shorter course, tighter turns. So I'm hoping that we're going to be able to make some changes, if to make the boat better. So, we've got some things up our sleeves that we want to do, but we got to get on the water to be able to confirm that.
Even though 2 mile long chutes, tight turns, you mentioned Grand Prix driving abilities, will we see in lane 1?
We'll see. I mean, when we're out there doing some testing, we're gonna see what the best way around the course will be. I mean, it's gonna be lane 1, 2, or 3. So, they've got some great drivers out here. Mike Kelly, who's aggressive in getting lane 1. Jimmy Shane, Tommy Thompson. Like all those guys that are, Andrew Tate, of course, too, that are really good at getting an inside. So it's going to be a fight, but we're certainly prepared for it.
Fans across watching around the world with the H1 Unlimited live stream, Dave Bardish, he has this knack of acquiring race boats, not only boats that raced in the past. He's got a wonderful warehouse up in Detroit. So you have the T5 here. This is the one you've drove for 3 seasons. Now he has the U2, which was the Miss Trendwest. You and Jamie have done some work on that hull. What's the status on that boat right now?
That boat is now in Dave's shop, and it's being worked on to be rigged. The plan is for that thing to be out in 2020. Really, really excited to see what that boat's going to do, because, we put that on a serious diet. We did a lot of modifications to it, so the boats should be really close to minimum weight. That thing is tough as nails, but, we've got that thing, so it's balanced pretty well. It was pretty heavy on the left side and a little nose heavy, but when we picked that thing up, it picked up perfectly level, and, it's going to be an awesome boat when it gets on the water.
I believe that was a Ronnie Brown design initially, and, of course, Jim Harvey campaigned it as the U2 Miss Trendwest. Now, that boat had the drop sponsons. Will it still have that same profile when it debuts next season?
No, we made some significant changes there, and the part of the reason we wanted to go to a standard setup with the skid fin, and we took out 68 pounds a side out of the drop sponson. So it was thick and heavy. So the idea is to put the boat on a big diet, in which we did. We got rid of the the raised decks and the sponsons, brought it down to the traditional, and just took a ton of weight out of it. And took the left sponson off. Did some modifications, so we're expecting that boat to be competitive, very competitive.
I've always wanted to ask this. The drop sponsons on the Unlimited boat, now me just being a fan, doesn't seem to work as well on an inboard boat. And as you mentioned, you filled those in. Do you feel you'll get a little bit better lift aerodynamics with this craft?
Well, the faster you go, when you fill in that area around the back of the sponsons, it's certainly going to help aerodynamically. And but we just felt with the weight, the extra weight they were carrying around, was more of a detriment to the boat in setup wise, and aerodynamically it's it kind of hurts it a little bit. But with taking all the weight that we took out, we took out 500 pounds out of that boat. So like I said, we're expecting some great things, and weight versus what you're going to gain in the aerodynamic setup, that was a bit of a toss-up, but we felt that the weight savings would be going further than going with that style of back of the sponson.
Outstanding. So when we see that boat next season, a 500-pound diet on that original U2 Miss Trendwest. I had your friend up here earlier, your teammate, Patrick Haworth, trying to qualify as an unlimited chauffeur. And by the way, they do have the slings applied back on your boat, so we'll wrap up here pretty quickly. The U10, former Miss Budweiser, Dave Bardish purchased the T3. Jim Harvey, the veteran's working on it. How we looking? Will we see it at the Hapo Columbia Cup?
I sure hope so. I know Patrick, he's really hoping. And, we have a plan of, a bunch of us are going to go out, before Tri-Cities and try and get that thing finished up. But I know Patrick, he's super excited. He's a great driver. He's a great radio guy for me there this weekend and last weekend. So, it's a great team. And, I'm certainly hoping for Patrick. He's certainly deserving of the ride. So, I sure hope that we'll see him in a boat in Tri-Cities in Seattle.
Bert, thank you for visiting with us. Welcome to Madison for the first time. Good luck in the Gold Cup. Get that fire suit on and get out there.
Will do. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff.
Bert Henderson with us out of Canada. And, Bert, I forgot one thing before you leave. my condolences to you and the entire HRL family. Matude you, we lost him last week. And I mentioned to Patrick earlier, the dog is his nickname. He'd want us to go ahead and run this weekend.
Absolutely. I mean, Matthew was a great competitor, and my heart pours for that family. They're going through a lot right now, and but we're going to race for Matthew, and I know Jack and the whole Lupton family, how they're feeling, and I think we'll see Jack in Valleyfield with running that sport in the 9. So we'll be excited to see that.
That's great to hear. Stay tuned. Stay online. We'll be back with more updates here at the Madison Regatta APBA Gold Cup on H1 Unlimited. For our race fans watching on the live stream through H1 Unlimited, we're still in a holding pattern, but getting ever closer to reopening the Ohio River Racecourse for unlimited testing. One more buoy to be put into position. That is the exit pin of turn number 1 to the right of us, going down the Kentucky shoreline on the back chute. The debris has been swept. When we go back to activity, the first boat out will be the U1 Auction Marketing presents Delta Real Track, followed by the U7 Spirit of Detroit. Then the third boat in line, and just going into the water, the U12 Graham Trucking with J. Michael Kelly. As we mentioned earlier, temperatures here in the Ohio River Valley today in Madison in the lower 90s. And yes, the humidity is here. It's July. It's the Midwest. It's a hot and sticky one here. And now the course has been reopened. We will have 40 minutes. 40 minutes will be left in this testing session as Andrew Tate leaves the pit dock in the U1 Auction Marketing presents Delta Real Track. Andrew Tate, your defending APBA Gold Cup champion last year in Detroit at the Metro Detroit Chevy Dealers APBA Gold Cup. Andrew Tate's father, Mark Tate, a two-time Gold Cup champion back in 1991 and in 1994. Andrew, as we mentioned, out of Walled Lake, Michigan, 29 years of age. His full-time position, Monday through Friday, is a production manager at Sun Coatings in Southeast Michigan. The craft owners are Lori and Mike Jones. They're based out of Lake Tapps, Washington. Lori and Mike has 2 Gold Cups to their credit. The first one back in 2001 with the Tubby's Grilled Subs, chauffeured by Mike Hansen. And, of course, last year winning the most prestigious trophy in boat racing, the APBA Gold Cup. They won in Detroit with the young man in the cockpit on the track right now, Andrew Tate, in Delta Real Track. A new chief wrench for the U1 in 2019. Seth Partial gets that role. Jeff Campbell, crew chief last year and many years for the Jones team, elected to retire. But key factor for the U1 here in Madison this year, as this is their season debut, Jeff Campbell is on site for the Jones team as a consultant. Andrew Tate slow by the start-finish line buoy in the U1 Auction Marketing Delta Real Track. Andrew might be taking it slow the first time around just to gauge how the debris has been swept and also to the positions of the buoys reset during our downtime here on the Ohio River. Andrew Tate, first ever race was here in Madison back in 2016 at the Indiana Governor's Cup. Started in the trailer position that year. Of course, that race was won by Jimmy Shane in the Miss Homestreet here in 2016. Andrew Tate, 8 career wins in the sport. The owners, Mike and Lori Jones, 11 career wins in the sport of H1 Unlimited Hydroplane Racing. Tate working up the back chute. We'll elect to see if he picks up the throttle. Entering turn number 2 here on the Wild Bill Cantrell Memorial Racecourse. Still working slowly, but at a pace, I'd guess they're around 110, 120 miles per hour. As he works into turn number 2 right there at the entrance pin. Now at the apex. We'll see if that tail rises as he is in front of the Milton Madison Bridge. Turn number 2 here on the Ohio River. And now he starts to pick it up. Andrew Tate, Auction Marketing, Delta Real Track. Nice boat speed on the front straightaway as he enters turn number 1 here on the 2-mile oval, cut out on the Ohio River. Gets there at that yellow buoy. That is the entrance pin, but it looks like it's went away as you saw Andrew cut in front of that, so we're still having some buoy problems down there in the west turn number 1. It is obvious by my eye and on camera that entrance pin has floated downriver. Up the back chute. Team elected. Personnel decisions could not make the season opener at Lake Guntersville, but they're here in Madison to defend their APBA Gold Cup championship. Hangs it on the hook. Working in a lane 1.5 sequence. Comes off the turn. We'll see if we can get a time for Andrew Tate. $131.228 miles per hour. 131.228. And of course, we all know this boat has a lot more left in it. And the factor of that speed could be because of that entrance pin down in turn number 1 being out of position here on the Wild Bill Cantrell Memorial Racecourse. Qualifying scheduled this afternoon at 2 o'clock. We expect that to be moved back with our delays here in the testing session. We'll keep you posted on that. Nice turn off turn number 2. Kept it snug to the pins. Completes another lap. Waves it to the fans here along the Indiana shoreline. We'll get a time. 136.386 miles per hour. 136.386 for Andrew Tate. In the U1, Oxshire Marketing presents Delta Reel Track. Nice boat ride up the back straightaway on the Kentucky shoreline at the halfway mark. The team did test at the test session in Tri-Cities, Washington back at the end of June. As I mentioned, elected not to race in Guntersville last weekend. This is a valuable test session for the U1. Oxshire Marketing presents Delta Reel Track. That's a little bit quicker. 137.200 miles per hour. 137.200 for Andrew Tate. And the U1, Oxshire Marketing presents Delta Reel Track. Annie is slowed in turn number 1. And we'll keep our eye on the U1 to see if Andrew elects to make a timing run here during this testing session. As I mentioned when we started, we had 40 minutes left in it. So this is a valuable time for the H1 Unlimited Hydroplane pilots to test their crafts and also to check their timing marks here on the Ohio River Racecourse. Working at a pretty good clip, and now he's slowed entering turn number 2. Working around in lane number 1. We'll see if he elects. Nope, looks like he's going to go ahead and point it back to the pit dock. So we did not get a timing run there for Andrew Tate. And the U1, Oxshire Marketing, presents Delta Reel Track. But 3 laps on the clock here in testing. The first at 131, then 136, and 137 for Andrew Tate. Next boat out is the Dominant Red with the blue and white striping. It is the U7 Spirit of Detroit. Bert Henderson is the driver out of Brockville, Ontario, Canada. Henderson, 47 years of age, builds race boats at Henderson Hydroplanes in Brockville. His first ever Unlimited event was back in 2017 at the Detroit President's Cup. Henderson married to his wife Jennifer. They have 2 children, Caitlin, the oldest, Owen, his son, currently qualifying as an inboard hydroplane pilot, driving in the 1.5 stock class in the APBA inboard division. Already has some heat wins under his belt, so the name Owen Henderson might be one to look out for in the future as his career grows as a driver on the water in hydroplane racing. Dave Bardish is the owner out of Detroit, Michigan. Dave Bardish's name is on the APBA Gold Cup back in 2005 when Terry Troxell piloted the U-13 Aldebe Dodge to victory in Detroit. The crew chief out of Detroit is Bill Gockian. Henderson off turn number 2, coming down the front chute. We spoke to Bert earlier. He was anxious to get out on the Ohio River race course. His first ever appearance in Madison in any race boat whatsoever, and it's the biggest class of all, the Unlimited Hydroplanes. Bert working gingerly here on this warm-up lap as he works back into turn number 1 in the Spirit of Detroit. Henderson's radio man is Patrick Haworth. We spoke to Patrick earlier today as well. He hopes to get some laps in this weekend, the U7 Spirit of Detroit, to complete his qualification process to be a legal pilot in the H1 Unlimited Hydroplane Series. This craft was the T5 Miss Budweiser, built back in 1996, has one Gold Cup victory under its belt as a racecraft. That was in 2000 as the Miss Budweiser. Henderson had a good run last weekend at the Southern Cup in Guntersville, Alabama. Finished on the podium in the 3rd place position. Henderson through turn number 2. And we'll see if he likes to get on the throttle here in the U7 Spirit of Detroit. And once again by the start-finish line buoy, running at a leisurely pace here in this unlimited testing session. Tate Meyer, our cameraman up here for H1 Unlimited. Tate, I looked to the left. I thought that entrance pin, yeah, it is out of position. Tate shakes his head up and down, yes, and yeah, that one is definitely out of position. So that's unfortunate here in this testing session for the teams and the drivers, not only to find out what their speeds are, but also to their timing marks as well when we go into racing activity on Saturday and Sunday, as Henderson works still leisurely up the back straightaway. And also, too, Burton, experienced pilot in the inboard limited category, feeling his way around. Also, too, maybe he might be spotting some debris on that back straightaway. That was the reason for our delay. Most of it earlier today was the debris, and then, of course, some course markers we had to get back into position as well. Go ahead and hit the clock here on him. I was a little bit tardy. Looked like he hit the throttle just past that entrance pin of turn number 2, the start-finish line. We'll get a timing run here for you for Bert Henderson. And he gets to the start-finish line buoy. Make it 14 seconds, but I was a little bit tardy here on the watch here atop the tower on the judges' stand. A little bit better speed this time going into turn number 1. That's the roughest part of this race course here in Madison. Turn number 1, Henderson exits and now has a little bit better momentum on the back straightaway in this former T5 Miss Budweiser. At the halfway mark, boat looking good. Nice solid run as he enters turn number 2. Henderson cranks it left. A little bit of a hop and a skip there, recovered fine. Off the turn, about a lane 1.5 sequence. We'll get a time here for you in testing for Bert Henderson, U7 Spirit of Detroit. .243 miles per hour. 132.243 for Bert Henderson, U7 Spirit of Detroit. Works up the back straightaway, staying close to the pins here in this testing session on the Ohio River. Right across from us now at the judges stand, working into turn number 2 in front of the Milton-Madison Bridge, connecting Milton, Kentucky and Madison, Indiana. Swings it a little bit wider this time, kind of creeping into that lane 2 sequence, and we'll get a time here for Bert Henderson. And that one's faster, 134.793 miles per hour, 134.793 for Bert Henderson, U7 Spirit of Detroit. And as you can tell on the camera, has slowed significantly down in turn number 1. I'll get my other watch out here and see if Bert elects to make a timing run as he concludes this testing session for Dave Bardish's Big Red Craft out of the Motor City of Detroit. In the water is the U12 Graham Trucking with J. Michael Kelly, and he's already lighting up the Lycoming turbine. You can hear the spool in the background as we see him visually here. That will be your next boat out, the U12 Graham Trucking. Then the teammate boat is in the water, the red, white, and blue U98 Graham Trucking American Dream, Corey Peabody in the cockpit. He will follow the U12 Graham Trucking. Bert Henderson elected not to make a timing run in the U7 Spirit of Detroit as he is slowed off turn number 2 and pointing the bow of the craft back to the pit dock here in Madison. Thank you for watching live streaming here this afternoon on this Friday, day number 1 of 3 of activity at the 69th Madison Regatta APBA Gold Cup. Testing began about 11:45 this morning. Jimmy Shane took to the water in the Miss Homestreet, followed by the bucket list racing, and then after that we've had a delay. We've had debris, we've had buoy issues. This session has resumed, and when we started it moments ago, it was going to be a 40-minute session remaining for unlimited testing. J. Michael Kelly on the back straight out of Bonnie Lake, Washington. 40 years of age, a lead finish carpenter. Out of the Pacific Northwest, as he's on his warm-up lap here in the U12 Graham Trucking. J. Michael, the 2016 APBA Gold Cup champ, driving the U5 Graham Trucking. Rob Graham was the sponsor, but that year Ted Porter was the craft owner out of Decatur, Indiana. Rob Graham, the new owner out of Milton, Washington. Graham Trucking, and the crew chief veteran Tom Anderson out of Seattle. J. Michael picks it up a little bit, entering turn number 1. J. Michael married to his wife Angela, 3 children, Brennan, Carson, who is getting into J-Stock hydroplane racing, and the little one, Asher. Now Kelly picks it up on the back chute. We spoke to him earlier, and he was anxious. He walks it there on the back chute as he works his way into turn number 2 here on the Ohio River. Hangs it on the hook. Nice skid fin water, and boy, he knows how to ride those buoys. He'll be on the clock here in testing in the Graham Trucking, and the boat seems really freed up here in testing. You see it dancing from side to side, also called walking the race boat. Looked nice entering turn number 1. Cranks it to the left. Jimmy Shane had speeds earlier of 141 and 145. As we'll see what Kelly does here in the U12 Graham Trucking. And there's that walking activity we mentioned earlier. Boat seems to be freer running here in this testing session as the 12 team opens up things here at the APBA Gold Cup. Through turn number 2, and that is pure beauty. He's right on that entrance or exit pin. He'll come down. We'll go to time for J. Michael Kelly. It's a nice one. They'll like it. 141.749 miles per hour. 141.749 for the U12 Graham Trucking. We spoke to J. Michael earlier today, and he thought their gear combination on this 2-mile course could put them into play. And right now they're looking to play early on here at this APBA Gold Cup. But this is only testing. When we go qualifying later this afternoon, we'll see how the boat performs and the others as well. Nice turn once again. Off turn number 2. Completes his second hot lap on the clock. We'll get a time here momentarily. That one's a little bit slower. 140.282 miles per hour. 140.282 for J. Michael Kelly in the U12 Graham Trucking. Beautiful paint scheme on the boat this year. The dominant red, but that metallic silver and the extra added effects on the cowling and vertical makes this one look super sharp in the 2019 H1 Unlimited Hydroplane Series. Through turn number 2, once again, he is so good keeping it snug to that exit pin. And this is his third hot lap on the clock. Graham Trucking, now he slows. Wow, the first lap was 141.749. The third lap, 141.749 for J. Michael Kelly in the U12 Graham Trucking. As you see, slowing. Off turn number 1, we'll get our secondary watch out to see if he elects to make a timing run here on the race course. As we mentioned earlier, this is the original T5, Miss Budweiser. Boat was purchased by Ted Porter back in the mid-2000s out of Decatur, Indiana. It's ran under various names, formulaboats.com, Graham Trucking. Now the red, white, and blue leaves the pit dock. Corey Peabody out of Kent, Washington, driving the teammate boat of the U12. This is the U98 Graham Trucking American Dream. J. Michael elected not to make a timing run, as the red, white, and blue perfect colors for this 4th of July weekend here at Madison for the APBA Gold Cup. Corey Peabody out of Kent, Washington, 40 years of age. Full-time position, a construction superintendent for Northway Construction in the Pacific Northwest. Corey is married to his wife, Stacy. They have 3 children, Riley, Layton, and yes, the youngest is named Race, R-A-C-E. Imagine that, a racer, youngest child, Race, you got the name. First race for Corey was back in 2016 at the APBA Gold Cup in Detroit. Got aboard the U57 Spirit of Detroit. Boat owner, of course, is Rob Graham out of Milton, Washington. The crew chief this weekend for the 98 out of Chelan, Washington, is Johnny Walker. So Peabody, first ever time in an Unlimited here in Madison. Works through turn number 2. We've seen a lot of the drivers here as we began the testing session there about approximately 15-20 minutes ago, taking some extra leisurely laps, just getting used to the course, also too checking for debris here on the Ohio River. Peabody works through turn number 1. Peabody was 5th at last weekend's Southern Cup at Lake Guntersville, Alabama. Now he picks it up. Peabody still considered a rookie on the H1 Unlimited Tour. To be qualified as a rookie and also to those Rookie of the Year honors, you have to compete in at least 3 races during a season on the H1 Unlimited Tour, and this season should get him qualified in that rookie status, no doubt, as they'll be at the Hapo Columbia Cup here at the end of the month, and that'll be his 3rd race of the season. Across the start-finish line, Bowie working well away from the pins compared to the other drivers as we've gone back to unlimited testing. Corey Peabody out of Kent, Washington. Seen him drive his 1 liter, the Y5, out at the Western Divisionals at Lake Spanaway, Washington. Dynamite chauffeur in the inboard category. Comes in with a lot of promise here in the H1 Unlimited Hydroplane Series. Driving the 2nd entry here for Rob Graham this weekend, the red, white, and blue. U98 Graham Trucking American Dream. Nice boat ride up the back chute, entering turn number 2. Way outside the exit pin. And we'll see if we can get a time here for you for the U98 Graham Trucking American Dream. $122.390. 122.390 for Corey Peabody in the U98. Exits the turn. Boat also, too, participated in the H1 Unlimited Test in Tri-Cities, Washington on the Columbia River at the end of June. Older craft. This one was built by the late Fred Leland. Boat was here last year, painted with the black, red, and yellow. It was the U99.9 Miss Rock with Aaron Salmon in the cockpit. Rob Graham acquired the craft over the winter months and has come up with the throwback paint scheme when Rob got into the sport of unlimited hydroplane racing back in the late 90s. This was one of the paint schemes he used when he entered the sport with the late Fred Leland. Corey a little bit slower this time into turn number 1 there on the Ohio River. And we look below, we're hearing another Lycoming turbine engine fire up, and it's the beautiful Chartreuse and Carnival Orange. Tom Thompson heading out to the Ohio River Racecourse in J&D's, presented by Reliable Diamond Tool. Corey Peabody up in turn number 2. We'll keep our eye on him as Tom Thompson just left the pit dock. No, yep, now Corey's slowing. Looks like he'll come back into the pit area. In the U98 Graham Trucking American Dream. The Chartreuse and Carnival Orange off turn number 1 here in the warm-up lap. J&D is presented by Reliable Diamond Tool. Tom Thompson, the driver, the veteran out of Cambridge, Maryland, 56 years of age. Tom's full-time position is with Thompson Propane Systems in Cambridge, Maryland. Tom married to his wife, Chrissy. They have 1 daughter, Savannah. The craft owners are Shannon and Scott Rainey out of Edmonds, Washington, and Scott serves as the crew chief as well for the U11. Thompson still looking for that first ever win in the Unlimited Hydroplane division, but inboard hydroplane racing, Hall of Champion inductee in the APBA, numerous wins under his belt in the APBA inboard category, and also doubles up driving currently in the Hydroplane Racing League Grand Prix Series for Randy English in the number 525. Also, too, with that reliable diamond tool on the sponsorship of that GP boat. So Thompson works up the back straightaway. Team did not make the final heat last weekend at the Southern Cup at Lake Guntersville due to a gearbox issue. The team worked hard this week out at the Madison, Indiana airport to get that gearbox fixed, and here they're on the water in unlimited testing and looking good here on the warm-up lap. So Thompson crosses in the chartreuse and carnival orange. Warm-up lap was 123 and some change, 123 and some change for Tom Thompson. J&D's presented by Reliable Diamond Tool. Works off turn number 1. And it did not seem to be up to speed right there. Now he picks it back up. So Thompson works up the Trimble County shoreline here with the Ohio River. And just has slowed down some. Just does not seem to be quite up to speed as he was when he came across the start-finish line buoy last time around. And now, as you can see, considerably slower in turn number 2. Not certain if he wants to make a timing run coming off the turn, and now he's starting to point the bow of the racecraft back to the pit dock. Now he focuses back out toward the race course. Some activity here at the dock with the U-98. So Chom trying to find a good position to return the U-11. J&D is presented by Reliable Diamond Tool back to the pit dock. Crew will walk to the west, retrieve the craft. So they did get a lap in, but not quite up to the speed I'm sure they wanted to see here in H1 Unlimited testing. And we just heard over the H1 Unlimited radios that has concluded our testing session here in Madison for H1 Unlimited for the 69th Madison Regatta APBA Gold Cup. We were scheduled to go qualifying at 2 o'clock. That will be moved back. So monitor Facebook at H1 Unlimited. Other sources are Hydro News and Unlimited's on down. And the U12, 22, Twitter. I'll get you down later. And H1 Unlimited at Twitter. And you know I don't have that, young man, with the I-1000. Thank you for watching H1 Unlimited streaming here at the APBA Gold Cup. Once again, monitor Twitter, H1 Unlimited, and Facebook, H1 Unlimited, Hydro News, and Unlimited's on down when we get the time set for the 2-hour qualifying session here at the 69th Madison Regatta APBA Gold Cup. Until qualifying, we'll see you later.